Monterrey, Mexico. June 29, 2026. 2 penalties apiece after 4 rounds. A goalkeeper desperately dives to his left to save a Dutch penalty. Then Ismail Saibari steps up and sends the ball low into the corner. He runs to his teammates screaming with joy and excitement. All his friends rush to celebrate with him. And the Netherlands are eliminated. Morocco had done it again. Does this story sound familiar? It should. 3.5 years earlier, in a tournament hosted by a different country, mighty Morocco had written one of World Cup history's most surprising stories against the same opponent. This time, it would happen a second time. To understand Monterrey, we need to go back 4 years, to Qatar 2022. In Qatar, Morocco became the first African nation in World Cup history to reach the semi-finals. They conceded just 1 goal in 7 matches, and that one was an own goal, for the legendary, defense-heavy Moroccan side. One after another, they knocked out Spain, then a Portugal side led by Ronaldo. In the end, they were stopped by giant France, but the team they beat to reach the quarter-final was the Netherlands, a footballing giant, part of the great tradition known as the Orange. In fact, they had already beaten them 2-1 in the group stage. The Netherlands seemed like a recurring obstacle for mighty Morocco, and also an opponent Morocco would beat again. December 2022. The Morocco-Netherlands quarter-final in Qatar shouldn't have been seen merely as an upset. Days were coming when all football fans would see Morocco not as a surprise, but as a powerful representative of a rising African nation. The Netherlands had reached the round of 16 many times in other World Cups. Their confidence in both their squad depth and their experience was very high. Yet Morocco beat them again, announcing their name to the world. That defeat lodged itself in Dutch footballing memory. It was more than just a loss. It was the golden generation's last chance for the trophy slipping through their fingers. Their last chance had been taken from them by a team they had rarely faced before. 4 years had passed. Was history simply repeating itself? June 29, 2026. Estadio BBVA. Monterrey, Mexico. The draw had once again been strangely fitting. Morocco and the Netherlands. Once more in the round of 32. This time, though, the stakes were different. In their previous meeting, Morocco had won, the most talked-about match of that round of 32. And the atmosphere in Monterrey was completely different. The Netherlands were usually known for their colorful, vibrant fan base. But in this Mexican city, the stronger support belonged to Morocco. The memory of 2014, a controversial Dutch penalty that eliminated Mexico in the round of 16, was still fresh. Mexican fans had begun chanting "No era penal." It wasn't a penalty. Even before the match started. That day, the Mexican fans stood with Morocco. Dutch head coach Ronald Koeman made a tactical statement before the match. For the first time in the entire tournament, he changed formation, setting up a 5-man defensive line, designed specifically to deal with the pace of Morocco's superstar Achraf Hakimi on the right flank. The Orange had to be careful now. The advantage was no longer theirs. Morocco was perhaps the strongest team to ever come out of Africa at a World Cup. It wasn't the Netherlands dictating the match. They had become the side trying to resist and adapt. Morocco pushed forward throughout the game. The Netherlands looked for goals on the counterattack. It was a match no one could have predicted. Not commentators, not fans. A match with no clear favorite. Would Morocco pull off another surprise and win? Or would the Netherlands get their revenge for the last World Cup? Everyone waited anxiously to find out. In the 72nd minute, Cody Gakpo scored off an assist from Somerville Waite. The Dutch bench surrounded him to celebrate. But what followed wasn't an ordinary celebration. The 27-year-old player burst into tears in his teammates' arms. Days earlier, Gakpo and his wife had announced that they had lost their unborn child. Somehow, he had chosen to play. And in that goal, 27 years of footballing joy collided with something far heavier. Football has a way of carrying 2 truths at once. On the scoreboard, that goal simply read 1-1. In the stadium, in the arms of teammates who knew, it carried something words could not easily hold. Morocco wouldn't give up the fight until the very end. After all, they had done the same thing years before. Gakpo had opened the scoring. The Orange and their stands roared with joy. Before the Netherlands could extend the lead, the score came back to 1-1. Late in the match, Talbi brought it to 2-2. That goal had pushed the match toward the Netherlands side, sending it to penalties. Quentin Timber blasted his shot wide. Hakimi's shot came back off the post. The post that night seemed to be foretelling that the match would go to penalties. Tension rose in extra time, but no more goals came. Just like in the last World Cup, the match went to penalties once again. The coolest heads would decide the winner. Yassine Bounou stepped up for the penalties. In 2022, he had saved 2 Spanish penalties and become the hero of that match. Later, at the Africa Cup of Nations, he had once again been a giant in goal against Nigeria, saving 2 penalties there too, helping Morocco reach that final. He couldn't save the Netherlands' first penalty, but Morocco's players believed in each other. Somerville took his shot, and Bounou stepped to his right, calmly pushing the ball away with his left hand. Ismail Saibari took care of the rest, sending Morocco through 3-2. Once again, Morocco had pushed the Netherlands out of the tournament. They gave every African nation, and football fans around the world, an unforgettable night. For the Netherlands, this was no ordinary defeat. It was much more than that. It was the most painful and sorrowful conclusion to a long history. They had now been eliminated by penalties in 3 consecutive World Cups. Statistically speaking, they had lost 4 out of their last 5 World Cup exits on penalties. The closest team to them in this regard were the Spanish, who were also no strangers to losing this way. The Netherlands' closest penalty shootout win came against Costa Rica in the 2014 quarterfinal. This was the second match of this tournament's round of 32 to be decided on penalties. In Paraguay, Germany, 4-time champions, had once been eliminated by them on penalties. For Koeman, this defeat marked the earliest tournament exit the Netherlands had ever suffered. They had been eliminated before, but never this early. Wabi, the head coach who took over from Walid Regragui in March, chose his words carefully after the match. "I think Morocco has now earned everyone's respect," he said. "I saw the Netherlands' cautious style of play as a form of respect. It was a quiet statement, but a deeply meaningful one. Once considered the weak link of African football, Morocco had now become a team capable of troubling the giants of the World Cup. Everyone was wary of Morocco now. We must keep telling ourselves that no one can stop us," Wabi added, "and no one is truly unbeatable." Morocco will now face Canada in Houston in the round of 16. Improving on their previous record, Morocco had pulled off a miracle in 2022. The players and the nation had become a living, tangible example of unity. This victory, at this moment in time, points to one thing above all, a goal not yet fulfilled, that Morocco's golden generation still has much more to achieve. We are the Cup Files. And this was the story of a rematch. Proof, sometimes, that lightning really can strike twice.